Sony CEO says Disney forced MCU strategy. No worries for Avengers. McCloin says scoop confirmed. Cyclops seems upset. The MCU's problems have been pinned on Kevin Feige for years, but that might not be the full story. Well, yeah, it never really is. But he's a huge villain in all this. Anyway, as McCloin previously reported, his insiders at Comic-Con overheard a heated exchange between a Marvel executive and a prominent Hollywood VFX artist. Both were in agreement that Disney corporate is to blame for the MCU's decline. Yeah. Ultimately, Disney is the big villain in a lot of these things. I mean, between Marvel and Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy was probably more of a villain than even Feige was, although Feige takes a lot of blame. I mean, yeah. But still, ultimately, yeah, it's Disney, you know? The conversation was intense. While they didn't catch every word, the message was clear. They backed comments from James Gunn suggesting Disney leadership pushed mandates that hurt the brand. The frustration wasn't aimed at Marvel's internal team. It was directed squarely at Disney. Now, Sony Pictures CEO Tom Rothman is echoing a similar sentiment. Appearing on The Town with Matt Maloney on YouTube, Rothman made it clear he still has full confidence in Kevin Feige, whom he first met while at Fox on the X-Men movies, while Feige was an assistant. Never bet against Kevin Feige. He knows what he's doing, Rothman said. So a lot of this is to repair his image. It's like, look, I didn't want to make those crappy movies, but Disney made me. Yeah, okay. Rothman continues by confirming that Marvel is undergoing a course correction. Yeah. Something that McCloin first told us about the news that Daredevil Born Again is being retooled. Yeah, it was too late. Of course, the main point I keep bringing up about Daredevil, nobody knew exactly what the show would be like. I mean, Echo kind of gave you a clue. But nevertheless, nobody showed up to even give it a chance. That means the MCU brand damage is so severe that you can have a really good movie. The Daredevil new show wasn't any good. It was. But odds are, I guess if it was like spectacular, then word of mouth would have gained it more viewers and it might have ended doing better. But man, nobody showed up from the get-go. Nobody showed up. And that is a severe wound on MCU. Anyway, certainly they've engaged in course correction. Less television, said Rothman. I think it was really the television and the elaborateness of that interconnection that made you have to be so inside or else you felt excluded. It's part of it. But it's not the main beast here. Now, most of the movies that came post-Endgame that were absolute garbage were not dependent on television. Doctor Strange was. WandaVision. Otherwise, you were a little lost as to what the hell's going on with Wanda here. The rest of them, no. Now you get to the recent Captain America movie. It's depended somewhat on Falcon and Winter Soldier series, but really, Endgame told you that Sam got the shield. So if you never saw that show and you're better off not seeing it, then there you go. He's the new Captain America, and that's your jumping off point. Now, the whole concept and everything, nobody's interested. No matter how, little of any wokeness is in a movie, if it looks like it's gonna be woke, that's enough for people to leave. It's death to your movie. You market it with that crap, and you're done. So race swapping, I was somewhat forgiving for that in the old days, here and there. But you abuse that to the hilt, and you're still doing it. And you do that now, that's death to your project. And that's just one of the factors. The movie just wasn't that great. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So there's that. But, and besides, the whole plot was for a Hulk movie. It was weird. Anyway, that lines up with what I've been. Oh, wait. Rothman then dropped the key detail. That was a mandate that he was given by a prior administration at Disney, and he's a good corporate soldier, so he did what he was asked to do. So to have the TV shows interconnected, well, sure, yes, but I think it also had to do with how the plots unfolded. Now, he took full credit for what they did to the WandaVision show, which looked cool. It had a lot of potential to it. And then they had their original plot that Doctor Strange would be in the show. And they decided, oh, wait, we can't have a white man in there telling a woman what to do. And so, okay, get him out. When it's supposed to be a precursor to the movie on orders from Disney, And then this woke crap comes into play and you damage your own show's plot. And it's obvious. It drops off immediately at the end. It's just so stupid. And they had nothing to replace it with. And he's sitting there, yeah, women, Well, you took your superhero and turned her into this crazy woman who's, mourning the loss of her robot lover, and decided to torture an entire town for I don't know how long. And then you're supposed to feel sorry for her when it all went up in smoke, and the townspeople, hey guys, come on, be nice to her. You've no idea what she lost, her fantasy world. And it was nuts. And you did that. And don't get me started on Falcon and Winter Soldier. Good Lord, that's what you do to your new Captain America. You make him sympathetic with a mass murderer. Great going. Anyway, that lines up with what Matt was told. The explosion of DP shows and heavy interconnectivity across film and television wasn't necessarily Feige's creative choice. It came from above. Yeah, because when they initially did television, he didn't want them overlapping with the movies all that much. And I think Chris Gore said it best. The movies can affect the television shows. The television shows cannot affect the movies. You do it like that, and you'll probably be fine. So anyway, according to Rothman, Disney handed down the mandate. Marvel followed it, and Kevin Feige executed the plan as instructed, possibly even if there were concerns in how it would all play out. Since then, reports say Feige has fired producers tied to the MCU's underperforming shows and films, signaling a clear shift in direction. But it's probably too late. Phase 4 and 5 saw the MCU expand rapidly into DP. Characters introduced in streaming series became required viewing for theatrical films. With the content in question, casual fans felt lost. Longtime fans felt alienated. VFX teams were stretched thin. Production timelines tightened, especially when you're reshooting every movie to death. That's another factor here. Again, it's nuts. According to Rothman, that strategy came from Disney's previous leadership. Feige executed the plan because that's what corporate wanted. Now Marvel Studios is scaling back. Less will be more, Rothman added. Have no worries for Avengers, guys. Well, there's still worries because the movie just doesn't have the setup like they did previously because of all this crap. So, hey, what's the best TV show? It's Daredevil. Not the current one, but maybe that can change, Oh, well, I'm right. I am right. Right, Cyclops? Yeah. See? So anyway, yeah, it's a combination of things there, I'm sure. Feige is not off the hook. He bears a lot of responsibility, but nevertheless, yeah, you can look at other properties of Disney. That's how they wanted it. And they wanted the streaming service to be the main focus. They wanted that thing to really dominate. So they said, okay, Marvel's got to be on there now. Yeah. And to where the movies become some sort of like advertisement for DP, you know? So, well, you all know how that works.